is Ben Lasure. Today I'm going to be presenting a beginner's guide to medical history taking, complete with some mnemonics to help you remember. First, let's go to Dr. Gerbo, who's going to present the ID, chief complaint, and history of present illness.
Let's start by introducing the history of present illness. The history of present illness, as the name implies, gives descriptive characteristics of the complaint which brought the patient to you. A mnemonic for the HPI is LICOR AA, which stands for location, intensity, quality, onset, radiation, aggravating and alleviating factors, and associated signs and symptoms. Let's have a look at an example.
May I come in? Come on in! Hi, my name is Ben Lasure. I'll be your doctor today. Can I get your full name? Bob Turner. Okay, nice to meet you, Bob. What exactly brings you in today?
Well, Doc, I've been having some pain in my right elbow.
Okay, pain in your right elbow. Can you locate exactly where on your elbow it is?
It's definitely more in the front of the elbow, but also mostly in the back.
Okay, so it's throughout the elbow. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being no pain at all, and 10 being the worst pain possible, how high would you rate this pain?
It's at least a 6, Doc.
Okay, so it's very severe. How would you describe the quality of the pain? If you were to give a descriptive word like burning, aching, stabbing, or some other type of discomfort, what would you call it?
It's kind of like having little elephants walking all over the elbow joint, you know?
Okay, would you call that a pressure?
That sounds just about right, bud.
Now, when did this begin, and did any other injury or activity bring it about?
It started last week, and as far as I can tell, nothing brought it on.
Okay. So you've had a pressure-type pain of 6 out of 10 severity throughout your right elbow for about a week with no traumatic event. Does the pain go anywhere else from your elbow, or does it stay in one spot?
Well, the elephants mostly stay in that spot, but sometimes it's like having little circus camels trotting down the arm over to the right thumb, you know, like really tiny animals, definitely with hooves. Either camels or llamas, probably camels, trotting down to the right thumb.
Okay, so tiny trotting animals. Would you call this a tingling, perhaps?
I mean, it doesn't quite paint the picture, but yeah, tingling describes it with a little less verbosity.
Is there anything that makes the pain better or worse?
Not that I've noticed.
Finally, has this pain been associated with any other problems you've noticed? Are there any other issues that coincide with the occurrence of the pain?
Nope.
Okay.
The past medical history is a section where you check on any and all conditions, be they past or present, surgical, medical, hospitalizations, childhood, or adult illnesses. The mnemonic for the past medical history is this camp, which stands for trauma, hospitalizations, immunizations, surgeries, childhood illnesses, allergies, medications, and pre-existing conditions. Here's an example.
Alright, I'm going to ask you some questions about your past medical history now. Have you ever had any type of trauma or serious injury in your whole life?
Nothing serious, Doc. Tore something in my knee one time in a bike crash, but that's about it.
Okay, have you ever been hospitalized for anything?
Nah.
What about immunizations? Are you up to date on all your shots?
I'm definitely up to date with everything, especially that rabies one. I had to put down the third pet raccoon, then I decided it was time to get that one.
Okay. Have you ever had any surgeries?
I had my tonsils taken out when I was 5.
Did you ever have any significant childhood illnesses?
I had a real good case of monkeypox back in my day. Cleared up pretty well though, but the isolation was rough.
Do you have any allergies to food, drugs, animals, plants, or anything else?
Nah, Doc, I've always been pretty able to tolerate stuff like that.
Do you take any medications?
I take a fish oil pill, a probiotic, and a teaspoon of Daffy's elixir before bed. Preventatively.
Okay. Now lastly, do you have any current medical conditions that you know of?
None at all, Doc. I'm a pretty healthy guy.
Good.
The family medical history is where you check for conditions with an inheritable component. The mnemonic for the family medical history is bald chasm, which stands for blood pressure, arthritis, lung disease, diabetes, cancer, heart disease, alcoholism, stroke, and mental health disorders. Now to an example.
Okay, now I'm going to ask you a few questions about your family medical history. Does anyone in your family have high blood pressure?
Nope. My family's blood pressure's been pretty good.
Does anyone in your family have arthritis, especially rheumatoid arthritis or some other sort of immune disease?
Nah, Doc.
Does anyone in your family have lung disease, or asthma, or another type of breathing problem?
Well, everyone in my family snores pretty loud, but that's about it.
Does anyone in your family have diabetes?
My uncle on my mother's side had diabetes, but that's it.
Has anyone in your family ever had cancer?
None whatsoever, brother.
Okay. Is there a history of heart disease in your family?
Heart disease does run in my family. 3 of my grandparents passed away from heart disease, and my father did at age 65.
Is there a history of alcohol abuse in your family?
Well, rumor has it that my aunt was a big fan of the vanilla extract, but aside from that, we're pretty clean, Doc.
Has anyone in your family ever had a stroke?
Nope.
Okay. What about mental health disorders? Are there any of those in your family?
No mental health disorders at all, Doc. My family's about as sane as they come.
Excellent.
The social history is the section of the medical history which checks the patient's social situation and many aspects of the patient's personal and interpersonal health. A mnemonic which can be used for the social history is tie a shoe, which stands for tobacco, illicit drugs, alcohol, sex, home environment like marriage or cohabitation or the home type, occupation and education, and eating and exercise. We'll go now to one last example.
Okay, now for the social history. Do you or have you ever used any form of tobacco?
Well, I smoke 3 to 4 hookahs a day.
Hookahs?
Yeah, hookahs. Big ones. That's where it's at.
Okay. How long have you been smoking a hookah?
Probably 4 years or so.
Do you use any illegal drugs?
Well, I've taken to using occasionally Molly, to get the party started or like before work or whatever.
So you mentioned work. What do you do for a living?
I'm a CPA.
Okay, what about alcohol use?
I only drink socially.
How often socially? How many drinks would you say you have in an average week?
Just 3 or 4, nothing excessive, Doc.
Okay, now I need to ask you a few questions about your sexual history. I know this can be a sensitive topic, but it is important because it's a big aspect of your health. So, how many sexual partners have you had in your lifetime?
Boy, Doc, that's a tough one. I mean, it can be hard to count, you know what I'm saying? Lots, probably. But more like 0.
Alright, that's good. So tell me about your home environment. What's your current living situation like?
Well, I live in a studio apartment with my pet monitor lizard, Izzy, and 1 cat.
Do you have gas or electric heat?
Electric.
Okay, to finish up the history, how's your diet, and how often do you say you exercise, and for how long?
I rarely exercise, Doc, and mostly Izzy and I eat Taco Bell 2 or 3 meals a day. You know they got them breakfast waffle tacos now.
We won't go into depth with the review of systems for the sake of time. It doesn't lend itself well to mnemonics, though an easy way to think of it is descent from head to toe. The sections of the review of systems are general, neurologic, psychiatric, HEENT, neck, breasts, respiratory, cardiac, GI, genitourinary, musculoskeletal, peripheral vascular, hematologic, and endocrine.